That's like 70% of the population of Texas. And by itself, I believe right now is ranked as the 9th largest economy in the world. And he had a garage apartment that's $50 a month. And Austin was ranked as the least expensive city in the country to live in, as 197,000 people, 50 a month.
Welcome to the Elite 25 podcast, where we sit down with the verified top 1% of Austin real estate agents to hear about the housing market, how they became the best agents in Austin, their challenges, and their success stories. If you're interested in luxury real estate and insights from the hottest market in America, this is the show for you. All right, thank you so much for being here today. Tell us your name and who you work for and how long you've been in real estate.
Dave Murray. I'm with DMTX Realty Group, Texas Land, and Keller Williams.
Excellent. And how long have you been in real estate?
Long time, since mid-'80s.
Okay, so you started out in real estate in the mid-'80s. Did you start out in residential? Did you always want to be a realtor, or did you do something else before?
No, I didn't want to be a realtor. I never thought about that. I came up here in the mid-'80s to go to work for State Farm as an underwriter, hoping to get into insurance. As an agent, my dad was State Farm, and they did really well. 3 weeks until the class started, and I had time to drive around, look at real estate, and decide that's what I wanted to do. So I got in at the absolute worst time you could, late 80s. Most people are too young to remember that was a bloodbath. There's not been anything worse since, but I was young and single, so I got by.
Yeah.
$1.50 a day, eating on $1.50 a day.
Wow.
And my first sales were $5,000 lots for $125 commission.
Really?
Then I graduated $10,000 1-acre mobile home lots, wow. And I was making $500 on those.
That
was big money.
Bucks
that was a big
rolling
money.
In.
And then, but I was working. I was working at a bar part time and just getting by. But really, really enjoying it, having a good time.
Right.
So everything's been cake since then.
So things in Austin have changed just a tiny bit since the mid '80s. Yeah. Where did you move here from?
Well, that's a story right there. I graduated from Arizona State, took a year off, traveled overseas, had a job waiting for me in Australia, place to live. That's where I was headed. Dad got sick. I ended up back in Beaumont where I grew up. As he got better, I came up here and visited friends and ended up moving here. Yeah. Did not plan to come back to Texas. If it hadn't worked out in Australia, I was heading back to Phoenix.
And what was in Australia? What were you going to do there?
So I lived in Australia. I lived in Hawaii for 2 years. Then I went to Australia. And one of my really good friends in Hawaii, his father was the largest opal miner in the world at that time. So a very wealthy family. I went, visited Australia, loved it. And what I noticed, it was like going back in time like 20, 30 years behind the U.S. at that time. And they didn't have any fitness centers.
Right.
None.
Right.
And so I'm like, this would be a great opportunity. So he said, yeah, come back. He wasn't going to put me in charge, but he thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
And so I thought I was going to have the opportunity to go over there and help, in a small way,
sure,
be involved in
the fitness industry there.
Like up-to-date fitness centers in Australia.
Right. And then you end up back in Austin in the mid-'80s, which had to be after or during the S&L problems.
Yeah. All the S&Ls, I got in the summer of '84 and pretty much went down the toilet in '85.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And have you always worked for yourself, or did you start out?
Well, I started with a little bitty company up in Cedar Park when it was like out in the boonies,
mm-hmm.
and so I did a lot of stuff up in that area, not much in town. But like back in the day when all of that, North Lake Travis, all the way up to Marble Falls and Burnet and Liberty Hill and Georgetown and Cedar Park, Leander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And have you always been the expert in the land purchases and ranches and whatnot?
No,
or did that
no,
transition?
not at all. Really, truly, back then, I didn't turn any business away. I mean, honestly, obviously, $5,000 lots, you don't go, that's not what you want to build your business model on.
Right.
But no, I would sell anything and everything I could. And then when I started listing, if I thought I could sell it, I would list it. Didn't care what it was, where it was. I just, I wanted to make money.
Right.
So just everything, there was no master plan. Sometimes I envy the agents that like specialize in Barton Creek or Westlake, or, you know, they don't drive more than like 10 minutes to go sell a house.
Right.
You know, so,
Right.
but I like what I do. I enjoy it. You know, we get
Right.
out and about. Today, after this, we're going to go look at like 15 waterfront properties. Oftentimes we start 6 a.m, get back 8 or 9 at night. We go look at like 12 ranches. We preview about 500 or 600 properties a year.
Wow.
About 300 ranches, about 200 to 300, residential.
Is there a diameter around Central Texas?
You know,
or is there
I'd
an
stay
area
pretty
that you-
busy within a couple of hours of Austin, but I mean, I've got agents that are in different areas of Texas. So we cover a pretty good area. Pretty much the focus on the Texas Triangle. For the people that don't know, the Texas Triangle is from DFW down to San Antonio on the 35 corridor, includes Austin, back over to Houston, back to Dallas. That's like 70% of the population of Texas. And by itself, I believe right now is ranked as the 9th largest economy in the world.
Oh, wow.
So we cover that triangle pretty good.
So you have a team that work for you?
Well, I've got half a dozen people in the office. I've got 20 or so agents. Fluctuates, but yeah.
Okay. And if you were to go back to when you first got in the business and you started seeing some success, can you pinpoint the time in your life when you stopped selling the mobile home lots and you moved into more of the luxury
Yeah.
market?
You know, first 3+ years, I was doing just anything and everything. That was late 80s. Then I got my broker's license pretty quick, just about as quick as you could back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on my own, and I continued to be pretty poor, but I was keeping 100%
Right.
of the little amount of money I was making.
Right.
And then I just decided I wanted to go with a bigger office and have some synergy and, you know, be around people, more people. Back then, believe it or not, I mean, people used to go to the office and have a desk. So you'd have 50 people 50 people in an office.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone have a desk. Now no one has a desk.
Right.
That's how and they used to deliver big, thick MLS books to you every other week,
Sure.
a big truck.
And your maps go so you could figure out where you were going.
Yeah, there was no phone. You had to actually read a map. You had to actually read a map back in the day.
Right.
So fax, boy, that was huge. That was a big, big deal.
Yeah.
You literally used to have to take contracts to people to get
Actual
signed.
paper.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first got in the mortgage business, it was similar. We had to the hardest part was getting a credit report, the paper credit report, and then updating it because you had to go track down the companies. There was no technology to help you with
people are
anything.
spoiled now.
Yeah. So as you've now flash forward to 2025, and I can imagine being in real estate, the technology desires of your clients have shifted. How do you keep up with that kind of stuff? Or do you?
Yeah. So, you know, to go back a little bit, one thing I learned early on, and I'm jumping ahead to maybe a
That's
question
okay.
you'll ask, is I learned when I was making no money,
Right.
like no money, I had an assistant. There's a high school girl that came in. I paid her $5 an hour for 5 hours a week. Because there's always something that, you know, it's important. There's
Sure.
all the paperwork and all the back office stuff's hugely important, but I never ever liked to do it.
Right.
So I always had someone to do it.
Right.
And it just grew from there,
How early on did you hire your first assistant?
like the first year.
Right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the one thing I learned early on. Someone told me this, I couldn't remember who, but they said you got to focus on your A time, and that's previewing, prospecting, being with a buyer or seller.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And if the more you do, I think focus on that, and the less of the back end stuff you do,
Right.
which I'm not discounting that at all, but at some point in time, maybe your time's worth 30, 40, 50 an hour, or 500 or 1,000 an hour.
Right.
And you can have someone that does that for a fraction of that cost. Why are you doing it?
Right.
Makes no sense.
If you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant.
That's right. You're your own assistant, and
Right.
you're probably a pretty poor one.
Right.
And I would be incredibly, I'd be awful at that job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had to, going back to that same time period till now, and say, okay, if I had a secret weapon that makes me, as opposed to all the other members of Elite 25, other than hiring a good assistant, what would you say that is? What makes you tick? or different?
You know, I'm not going to say better. I just do things differently. I mean, one thing that puts us in a different space than almost anyone else, I think, is it was no master plan. It just kind of evolved, is that, you know, we do waterfront. I do a lot of waterfront. I can arguably say I've sold more waterfront on Lake Travis than anyone, because I've been in it a long time. I've sold a lot of big tracts and ranches, lots of homes, lots, etc. Waterfront, luxury, residential, ranches, development tracts. I mean, we've done a lot of development tracts, not lately because it's kind of been like crickets, but, you know, probably 3 or 4 years ago, nearly $300 million just in development deals, all off market for the most part. I think 1 of 12 was like public.
Sure.
So we do a lot of different things in a lot of different areas.
Right.
And again, it was not a master plan. Just
not turning away any type of deal.
No, didn't turn it away.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I would assume that the recent rains in Central Texas have been changing things out on the lake. Are you seeing that? How do you think that's going to affect real estate here in Austin for the next?
I mean, you know, tragic what happened, you know, up in the, you know, Kerrville and whatnot,
Absolutely.
that area. But you know, rain was, we needed it. Right. I mean, we were way behind and we were in a rain deficit. So, I mean, normally we get about, in Central Texas, about 30, 32 inches a year. And literally we hadn't gotten that in 2.5 years. If you put the last 2.5 years together before this,
oh, wow,
we hadn't gotten but about 30 inches.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden, and I tell people that Lake Travis goes down really slow, comes up really fast.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now.
You've probably seen that happen a few times since
I've seen it come up 50 feet in a week twice. And it's getting ready to come up about 50 plus feet in about 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's coming. So it's, I mean, in that sense, we needed the rain and we got it.
Yeah. And at some point you heard about Elite 25. What brought you to this group?
So I was in the Elite 25, believe it or not, like 25 years ago.
Okay.
And it wasn't for me at the time. No.
Well, how was it different?
Well, I mean,
and I'm going to assume it was better
I've
today.
aged like a fine wine. I've aged, but I was probably
a fine French or Italian wine. We know.
Yeah, French or Italian. But Greek wine's okay too, and Spanish is good.
Okay.
Old world wine, that's the key. Anyways, I'll be honest. It was older ladies, and I just wasn't much of a fit. Not everybody, but sure. I was one of the younger people in there. Now I'm one of the older, but I was literally one of the younger people in there.
I heard
I stayed 1
similar
year.
Comments about the group prior to our
yeah.
And so
there's some blue-haired ladies in there.
Yeah. And how do you feel about it now? What do you think?
Oh, it's great.
You get anything out of it?
Like elated to be in it now. Again, be honest with you, it wasn't on my radar, but when I went over to, I was at Coldwell Banker 25 years. And then I went over to KW, and Gary wanted as many KW agents in it as possible. So they really pushed me to get in. Mm-hmm. I was a little resistant because I'm not much of a, believe it or not, into like groups, but I'm super excited to be in it.
Good.
Every year I'm kind of on pins and needles if they're going to keep me in because I don't fit the mode. I wear T-shirts.
when did you first apply? Do you remember when you first joined?
I don't know. Well, I got in the first year I applied.
Right.
Oh, you mean 20-something years ago?
No, most recently when you came back around.
Know, fourth year, I think.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're thrilled to have you.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. It's good to mix it up and have Elite 25 agents. If there's one thing that I'll say about them, they're the best at being themselves.
Yeah.
And you bring such a wealth of knowledge about ranches and a variety, obviously waterfront properties and all of that. But having been here since the mid 80s, I mean, we were talking earlier about Bee Caves Road being a 2-lane road at some point when you got here. I'm sure you've seen the cranes downtown and thought, man, I couldn't imagine that 45 years, the downtown area doesn't even look the same.
I remember when I first started coming up here in high school in the 70s, it was like, kid coming up to Disneyland. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, Hippie Hollow, I'm going way back now. Hippie Hollow was like not even a county park. It's just a place where bunch of people went naked. And
Bunch of
went swimming.
hippies.
Yeah, it was hippies. It was really hippies.
Sure.
You know, so that was like, damn, let's go to Hippie Island.
Yeah.
Don't go there now.
From Beaumont? Were you coming from Beaumont?
Yeah,
at the
from
time?
Beaumont. So
Yeah.
if you come from Southeast Texas to Austin and the Hill Country, it was magical.
Yeah.
I mean, it was truly magical. Still is. I've got a road that I like. This is a true story. So when I had that 3 weeks before the underwriting class with State Farm, because the idea was to be an underwriter for a couple of years and then get into agency. Thank God I didn't go that route. But I would drive around, you know, and I'd talk to realtors, go look at properties, and I was driving out Highway 71, and there's a road out there just over the river on the left, Fall Creek Road. Back then, I didn't even have a map with me. I mean, there was no phone, nothing, none of that. I was just driving. I'd see a road to turn down that road, Fall Creek, and then you come to a little Y where it says Old Spicewood Road to Cypress Mill, or right, kind of back road to Marble Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Took a left, and I got about halfway down that road, and I said, dude, I am not going to work for State Farm. I'm going to sell.
Going to go sit
land
in an office and
ranches.
Right.
And that road, I still drive down that road
Right.
now. And the cool thing about it, can't get a cell signal on a lot of it.
Right.
Turn the music on, roll the windows down.
Yeah.
I call it my origin road.
Yeah.
And it still looks the same.
Little bigger truck, but still enjoying the views.
It looks almost identical as it did
really
for that close in.
Right.
It's just got a lot of big ranch owners that are probably hopefully never going to sell.
Yeah.
So that road is still magic.
Yeah. Is it?
You need to bleep out the name of that road. I don't want a lot of traffic on it when I drive it. No.
How do you feel about the influx of the techies and the massive changes that you've seen to the city over the last few years?
You know, I'm not opposed to growth. I mean, Austin, you know, back in the late 70s, I wasn't living here then, but I visited a friend, and we walked down to a bar back in the day called Armadillo World Headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Old Austinites would know it. It was
a
pretty infamous place, really cool. And he had a garage apartment that's $50 a month. And Austin was ranked as the least expensive city in the country to live in, as 197,000 people, $50 a month.
Wow.
There was like 3 bars on 6th Street, and they were like blues bars, I think. But it was just different. It was unique.
Right. It's the 50th anniversary this week of Antone's.
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah.
So 50 years, that would have been the mid-70s.
Yeah. So I think I started saying back in the 90s, I said, like it or not, Austin's on the verge of being a mini LA. I mean, and that's what I kind of pictured it. It's like Austin to me is like, and I used to live in Southern Cal. Before I lived in Hawaii, I lived in Southern Cal, and then I lived in Australia.
In some good places.
Yeah.
It's a lot
warm
of surf
and sunny.
towns.
That was my
warm and sunny.
warm and sunny.
Sure.
And we still go back to Santa Monica. As a matter of fact, we leave Friday for there. We go back there quite a bit. And Austin's like LA in the 80s, even today. I mean, it's like it's got that vibe.
Yeah. How would you say Austin compares, other than the major luxury markets, New York, LA, obviously, Miami? How would you say that?
Well, we just got back from New York like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And went out to the Hamptons and Montauk, and so
Sure.
and then Miami. My dad grew up in South Florida, so I've been going there my whole life, and we go to Miami and South Beach a lot. And particularly LA, you go out there on a Tuesday and they got open houses.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
really?
for realtors. And so we go through, we start in Santa Monica, we go from Santa Monica, and then you go into Pacific Palisades. Sad, but curious to see what it's going to look like.
Sure.
Because the fires really hit that. And then we go into Malibu, or we go up Sunset, and we hit Brentwood and Pacific Palisades, Brentwood, and you get into Bel Air. I mean, there's some crazy houses there. I mean, honestly, there's some phenomenal homes here. It just kind of has the same vibe.
Right.
But I mean, you see some mind-blowing stuff out there.
Yeah. How's the pricing comparisons between Austin and some of these other major markets? You know,
I've been doing that a long time, so I remember some really same thing. I mean, it's just gone up a lot. I mean, there's
are they similar priced homes, or are they?
Oh, no. I would say if you're really going to be in one of the premier areas of those areas I just mentioned, you pay more. But there were some, I mean, over the years, there's been some incredible opportunities. I was working a deal on, believe it or not, I think it was about 60 acres in Malibu.
Right.
Back around 2001, 2002. $650,000.
Wow. Wow.
And it was at Mulholland and Canyon Dune, which is the road that goes over from Malibu and into Westlake.
Right.
Westlake is an area
California.
in Highway 1.
What would you say that is now?
I don't know. But back then, if you remember in 2000 and 2001, it was like the tech bubble. And anything that had a .com behind it was like, it had zero value in real life, but it like the stock market's going up. And I had a little portfolio that unfortunately I was trying to self-manage. It kept going up and up and up, and it was almost to the dollar amount I needed to just cash it. And then it went down.
Bubble fell out.
And then I watched it go all the way down.
Right.
And I never bought that land.
Like some of those crypto stocks
but there were just throughout California was in a down market, and there were some really, really good opportunities there.
Right.
And we still go look, and we still go tour these homes, and that's still
that's cool that you can go see other luxury markets.
Yeah, we do the same thing when we go to Miami South Beach. I got a friend that lives in Fort Lauderdale. We go visit there, and incredible homes on the water.
Right.
There. It's different, but Austin's got its own vibe. It's got, it's more of, it's Texas, and it's unique.
Well, I'm going to ask you now, if you weren't doing real estate and you had to do something other, just way out of left field that has nothing to do with insurance or real estate, what could you see yourself doing?
Man, I don't know. I don't think of that. Really. I don't. I just got to focus on what I do.
Do you have any hobbies?
I don't think I got a
hobbies besides touring homes and selling
travel.
Ranches?
If it was something travel related, I still love to travel. I mean, we still try to take quite a few trips and that, maybe
drink old school wine.
No, I don't drink hardly at all. No? When I do drink, I just like old world wine. Believe me, I had my share of drinking.
Everybody's got to cut down eventually, for sure. As far as growing your company, was it an intentional thing that you wanted to have the size of company that you have now? Or how did you get from being that solo guy and having an assistant to having a bunch of people? Was it from necessity or from a desire to grow a big business?
I think both, really. 20 plus years over at Coldwell Banker, which when I went to Coldwell Banker in the early 90s, I went over there and they were really, and they had... they were selling more $1 million plus. Yeah. Back then, $1 million plus was a big deal. They were the luxury.
Yeah. My mom worked for them in Dallas and sold the castle back
So
then.
We got very fortunate when over there, they were also the number one relo in and out of Austin. And so they were moving a lot of IBMers in from Poughkeepsie. And I ended up moving over 100 IBMers. And that's when I knew I made it, because early 30, and back then I was selling homes to them, 120, and a big one was 300, 350.
Susan Conti was she with them at that time?
There were a lot of good agents with them, and then
she was on our board when I first came along.
Yeah. There were a lot of good agents there, and it was a great company. And then we within 2 or 3 years, just almost just somewhat luck of being at the right place, right time, and then I had, grew the team, had an assistant, then a marketing person, then a buyer's agent. And there's probably maybe 6 of us. But we became the number one team in Central Texas. And so we were getting recruited a lot, and I was always, no, I'm good. And then Coldwell Banker got bought out. They went down a notch, got bought out again, and then really went down. And then I was open to it. And so we started, I had a lot of friends at Compass. I went and talked to them. And then they, I didn't know that they offered money to move, until I went over there, and we met with them, and they made pretty good offers to get over there.
Sure.
And about halfway through that process, I had an opportunity to meet with Gary Keller at KW that started here, in the 80s, and is now the largest real estate company in the world. And I never tell people, hey, you need to go here or there. People ask me all the time, and you got to find what works for you.
Right.
And
Sure.
Coldwell Banker did at the time, then it didn't. And then I was hoping to move. So KW, really, truly, to get to a long-winded answer to your question is, KW invented teams. I mean, they literally invented teams. When we went over there, it wasn't really intentional to go over there to grow the team.
Right.
But boy, they just had everything in place, all the tools in place. And we had people coming to us. I've never, ever gone and recruited anybody. The whole team that we have has come to us, and we've turned away more than we've taken on. Because obviously I want people that are going to be full-time and successful.
Sure.
So it was, and the Texas Land brand that we rolled out like 5 years ago, just had so many people that want to be part of it. Like I joke, like everybody that doesn't know what they want to be when they grow up wants to be a ranch agent.
Right. Sure. I mean, it sounds like a good story driving down that road. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So we had a lot of opportunity to grow it, and then we needed more support people, and so it just grew. And we literally this next year's, and maybe later this year, is going to be the true intent to grow it, because there's so much opportunity to grow the Texas land. 40% of all the ranches, about 40% of all the ranches sold in the country are sold in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So 93% of the land's privately owned, part of it. And it's a big state, and nearly 40% of all. So if you got Texas, that to me, it's
the place to do it.
A big deal. Sure. So yeah, we intend, and we got TexasLand.com is like the best domain name you can have.
Sure.
We also have TexasRanch.com and like 100 other domain names. A lot of them point there, and we spend a lot of money on SEO and lead gen and Google AdWords, and I finally was spending so much money. A lot for us. I'm not
Sure.
saying a lot, but for
Sure.
a team, we were spending about $10,000 a month, and so we brought in someone that does it in house now.
Yeah.
So we've been pretty successful. We get a lot of leads from TexasLand.com, but like all leads, they don't all
Sure.
pan out. But
You have to hustle.
we get enough that a lot of them pan out.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point now that I rarely work with buyers. I hand them almost all of them. It's not like, I'm going to keep this one because this looks good. I've handed off $5-10 million buyers and up. I just want a list.
Right.
I just, I've done my time where I've put people in my car, and especially those IBMers, reloads. I mean,
Sure.
families, people coming in 3 days, got to buy something, you show like 30 houses, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with that.
Understood.
The buyers I work with now are pretty much people I know and like to hang out with.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to buy something.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you think would be good for me
one
to
of the
ask you
things
about?
I think that if the younger version of me, if I could go back, what would I tell myself?
Yeah.
The journey I had is I've enjoyed it, even though when I was broke, I wouldn't change any of that,
Right.
because I think you got to take all of that to get the good times, bad times, whatever. But I do mentor a lot of young agents,
Sure.
and I make it real simple. They say, what do you do? So I think one, you got to be like super disciplined. I always tell people, it's not rocket science. You don't have to be smart. If you had to be smart, I'd be like a miserable failure, really, truly.
Right.
But you really got to be very disciplined. You got to be very motivated, and you got to have really good attitude, because you're going to get kicked in the butt, kicked in the teeth, kicked when you're down. You're going to think you got a listing, you don't. You got something on a contract, it falls apart. And if you get down and out over that, you're done.
It's not gonna
You'll
work.
never last. You got to
Sure.
learn from it, put it in the trash, move forward. That's it.
Would you say Gary's the guy that was most like a mentor to you, Gary Keller, or who would you say when you first started in the business?
No, Gary Keller was way later in my
Okay.
career.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you have some people that got involved?
No,
with you?
I don't. I can't really say I had a mentor.
Bootstrapped yourself.
I had to figure it out.
Right.
I mean, my dad obviously was a huge influence on me, because he was hugely successful. He went down to Southeast Texas and built up with one part-time State Farm agent, built it to 20 plus, and third ranked top 3 in the country.
Right.
And then he got it to a point where his secretary pretty much ran it, and he worked about 10 10, 15 hours a week. I'm like, damn, that looked good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my mentor and my vision. Like, I want to make good money and work so at some point in my life, I'll never retire, but it would be good to, work. My idea of retirement is about 20 hours a week, 6 months a year.
Right.
And I've got a plan for that, but that's the plan, 20 hours a week, 6 months a year. And those 6 months, here and there it'll always be 2 hours a day or something. You don't get away from it completely, but definitely there's a point where I think I got a pretty good retirement plan.
It looks pretty good to me as well. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks.
If you want to hear more from Elite 25, be sure to subscribe to this show and find us on Instagram and TikTok. Tune in again next week for another interview with one of the top 1% real estate agents in the country.